So our two biggest enemies to optimal performance are fear and complacency. Fear, what are we afraid of? What did we do when we experience fear? Because it happens to all of us. But the bad part is when it confines us, when it stops us, and when it permits us from going forward. But true courage is how we act amidst fear. Some ways to act courageously and to be brave is, number one, is to understand your fear, to break it down, to see what it is that you're afraid of and why you're afraid of it. And number two, to understand that, at the end of this, what is there really to fear? Am I going to be healthy? Am I going to be alive? And am I still going to be loved by those close to me? And the answer is most definitely yes. So ultimately, what is there to be afraid of other than perhaps your ego being hurt, So there's really not much to fear, but we do have that heightened anxiety. Now it's important to act when we experience that fear, and that's where being courageous and being brave comes from. So another technique is framing that fear, or framing that anxiety, and understanding that this is just an emotion. This is just chemicals being released in my body. What's important is how I frame that. What do I say? What story do I tell myself about these emotions, about this anxiety that I'm feeling? Do I tell myself something positive like, this is my body preparing for battle. This is just saying that this is something that's important to me, so that's why I feel this way, and these are good things. When we say something negative like, oh man, I feel like I have butterflies in my stomach, or I feel like I'm gonna puke, and this is why I just don't want to play today, or I just don't want to show up, or I have an excuse, and then you think about your excuses, and that's why fear slows us down and confines us. But bravery and courage, how do we act when we feel afraid? That's how we combat fear. Your second greatest enemy to your optimal performance is complacency. Are you satisfied? Are you motivated? When we're complacent, our motivation levels drop. We think we've already got to where we want to get, so we're satisfied. You see that a lot of times in games. A team has a lead, or the team that's the underdog ends up beating the team that's a heavily favored team, because that highly favored team is complacent, or they're satisfied. That team with the lead is satisfied, and that's one of the big advantages of being an underdog. So you want to avoid complacency. A huge way to do this is to stay motivated, to keep challenging yourselves, to keep it competitive, and to stay hungry. Never be satisfied, stay hungry, combat fear, combat complacency, and you're well on your way to optimal performance.